Do you have trouble getting things done because of attention deficit hyperactive disorder? Or are you the parent of a child who has great difficulty studying or paying attention in class? Are you finding work, school, or even family interactions excruciatingly difficult to deal with because of a fluttering mind? Is ADHD standing in the way of your goals? If so, the lessons in this presentation will be life-changing for you or the affected person you know. Hi, my name is Sean De Silva. I used to suffer from a severe case of attention deficit hyperactive disorder. And as you already know, not being able to focus is one of the most difficult issues a person can have in our white-collar world. You can't get work done on time. Your thoughts trail when people talk to you. They think you don't care. You don't get the full message of what your teacher or your boss says, and it creates constant stress and problems. Everything seems boring, outside of a rather narrow set of interests. For much of my life, I thought these were all facts of life. But that was because I only learned of my own ADHD during my college years. While friends in the same classes as me would quiz each other between breaks, almost effortlessly taking in new material. Nothing I learned would ever stick, no matter how hard I seemed to try. I stared at walls of text, trying to piece it together in my mind, and I mostly failed. Even back then, I knew it was only a matter of time before my ADHD would ruin my chances of doing well in class and graduating to be the person I wanted to become. I felt incapable. I felt lazy, as if I wasn't trying hard enough, even though I was putting my heart and soul into my studies, and I'm embarrassed to admit this, but I even felt stupid inside. Something had to change. Then I started really examining the facts behind ADHD and how other cultures around the world have dealt with this dreadful mental health issue with a much higher level of success than we have. Did you know that in places like France and East Asia, less than 1% of the population is projected to have ADHD? How is that possible? Why do some European and Asian countries have all the environmental distractions that we do, yet very little issues with ADHD? The answer lies in our different approaches to treating illnesses. The French treat ADHD as part illness, part socio-cultural issue. That means parents and physicians look at a child's entire life to see what may cause him or her to act out and not focus on homework, for example. They have an ADHD rate approximately 20 times lower than America, by the way. And in Asia, the culture of focus goes a step further. Zen and Confucian traditions across Japan, China, and Singapore encourage people to examine their mental thought patterns on a daily basis. The consequence? Asians grow up understanding how their thoughts flow, what times of day it's best for them to study, what environmental distractions tend to kick them off balance, and so on. This does a couple of things for them. Number one, from a young age, Asian students gain the skill of detaching from unwanted, disruptive thoughts. It turns out this is exactly the skill people like myself with ADHD desperately need in order to stop with the constant, unfocused mind wandering. Number two, Asians learn how to avoid negative triggers like pros. That's why they tend to have a calm demeanor. And this is yet another vital skill all of us could use to avoid emotional turmoil that prevents higher-level thought. Meanwhile, in America, our approach to ADHD is different, much more clinical in nature. The American model focuses on identifying symptoms and then attaching a formal diagnosis. ADHD is therefore treated like a disease. And if there's an FDA-approved medication that pairs well with the diagnosis, a prescription is written. Now, this works very well with certain illnesses, for example, the flu. But I think you know by now that mental disorders require a bit more thought to tackle in a meaningful way. Between 2003 and 2011, there has been a 38% increase in ADHD diagnoses in the U.S. About 1 in 8 children has a formal diagnosis of ADHD. Add to that shocking trend the fact that meds do not get rid of ADHD. They don't address the underlying issue at all, actually. They are essentially a Band-Aid for the brain. So what can you do instead to actually fix the issue? Adopt what works, of course. We just talked about two approaches that have already beaten the illness-focused American model. Both of these holistic approaches in Europe and Asia come down to managing your lifestyle. That's the key to correcting deficiencies related to the mind. Eating the right foods, training our mind for longer bouts of attention, and creating environments conducive to study and work will all incrementally raise your focus up to a natural level that doesn't even feel like ADHD anymore. This is exactly what I outline in my Concentration Zen Guide. Concentration Zen is the result of studies across Europe and Asia that teach us how to actually manage our minds for effortless focus and concentration whenever we need it. I took those lessons, practiced them myself and with clients, and wrote a guide that teaches the process of incrementally developing our concentration powers at home. The key word is incremental. We already know we're starting with an out-of-control mind, and day by day we take steps to make it a little sharper, a little better nourished, and eventually a lot more capable of staying on task. The results have been nothing short of revolutionary. Imagine waking up and mapping your day mentally, then completing each task one after the other, no sidetracks in between. I've worked up to this level, as have clients who practice the lessons found in Concentration Zen for many years. What will you find in the Concentration Zen Sustainable ADHD Relief Guide? The guide goes into the latest science of brain-boosting foods that everyone, not just people with ADHD, can use to enhance their brain's natural potential. Attentiveness, recall, memory, all can be improved with the right fuel. We'll show you what nutrients you need and the best foods to find them in, complete with full recipe suggestions. We then cover the process of developing a mind that stays focused on one task, and only one task at a time. And yes, this is truly a developable skill. Just like growing your muscles, a mind that can stay on one task takes time and effort. Even normal people can struggle when the work isn't all that exciting. With the right plan and a small amount of daily action, you can incrementally improve you or your child's focusing powers each day until you reach a healthy level. A big part of our guide is the simple plan we include on mental training. With it, you can spend just a few minutes a day learning how to train your mind to focus using powerful, proven mind training principles of high focus and concentration. And yes, parents, kids with ADHD as young as 5 years old can follow along with your assistance. Adults and kids equally benefit from the program. The last of the 3 pillars of Concentration Zen is the external pillar, the environment that we live in. My guide teaches you how to block out the distractions in your environment as much as possible to make mental work as seamless and inviting as it should be. This pillar is the icing on the cake, and those who work or live in difficult environments will make great strides regardless using the comprehensive focused development tools Concentration Zen offers. How much does the guide cost? Well, it's a lot cheaper than one-on-one coaching that costs several $100s per month. The Concentration Zen Guide normally sells for $69.99, but since you're watching this presentation during our Focused Minds for Life special event, a drive we're promoting to help millions of people bring clarity to their ADHD minds for the first time in their lives, you can get a copy of Concentration Zen today for just $37. Just $37, and that's not all. To help you make the most out of your newfound focus, I'm including a few bonus guides free with your order of the Concentration Zen Guide. Bonus 1, the ADHD Goal Setters Guide, is all about how people with impaired executive functioning skills, ADHD in other words, can overcome their natural weakness in order to accomplish big goals in life. This guide will help you plan and implement goals in a way your ADHD brain actually appreciates. When your ability to plan and organize is hampered by ADHD, the standard rules of goal setting don't work all that well. That's why the ADHD Goal Setter's Guide is essential for you. And yes, it's included free with the Concentration Zen. Here's another hiccup us folks with ADHD face. So much of motivation is based around fleeting emotions. They come and go like the wind. Not a good thing when your mind tends to drift as well. Our guide, Autopilot Motivation, puts an end to emotion-based motivation. It goes into how you can transform motivation from an unpredictable emotion to a steady, autopilot habit. If you ignored everything else in concentration Zen and just worked on building autopilot motivation, well, you'd be in a pretty good place. So much of your success in life is driven by how much drive you have and keep up day after day. Practice the lessons of autopilot motivation, and you'll be in the top 3% of action takers on this planet. Kids, teens, and college students will especially benefit from this guide. Now for our final bonus. In the middle of your average disorganized desk lies a minefield of subconscious focus destroyers. These innocent-looking distractions cause people to fall out of the zone and into the realm of procrastination. How many times have you looked over at a random Post-it note or down at your phone, suddenly triggering a thought that would lead to a 2-hour Facebook binge? Then you know exactly what I'm talking about. Well, our last bonus guide will help you nip that terrible focus-killing pattern in the bud once and for all. Desktop Zen not only helps you bring a new level of elegance and attraction to the second most used place in your home, your desk. The guide also shows you how to use a properly set up desk environment to calm the mind and maintain mental balance throughout your entire work session. And yes, Desktop Zen is yours free when you order Concentration Zen today. People who've bought our Concentration Zen package have fallen in love with it. Michelle Hawkins, from Indianapolis, Indiana, was bouncing between apprenticing at IBM while finishing a bachelor's degree. There weren't enough hours to sleep, let alone keep her eyes open through 16 hours of school and work. Here's what she had to say about the program. Finally, it feels like my mental forecast has gone from cloudy to sunny again. It's like I can read a thick textbook and actually take the information on the first pass. Is this really what concentrating can be? It feels like a superpower. Brian Adacampo in Scottsdale, Arizona, says this about Concentration Zen. I have an 8-year-old son who was clinically prescribed Adderall despite his young age. Even then it was hard for teachers to keep him in his seat, let alone teach him anything. But together we followed your program. On the first week I saw a good result as Chris was able to control his impulses and finish his math homework in a little over 1 hour with my help. I was blown away. Never in my life could I get him to do that before. As the weeks passed, he became better and better at controlling himself in class. Now his teacher says he's a model student, and I can certainly see it as well. Thank you so much for your program. If they can do it, so can you. Today is the day to get yourself, your child, your spouse, or anyone else with ADHD on track to a calm, organized, and attention-rich mind, so that you can focus on what you care about and get things done on the first try. Concentration Zen comes with a 60-day money-back guarantee, which means if you don't experience all natural, effortless focus in just 30 to 60 days, give us a phone call or send us an email to get your money back in full. Absolutely no questions asked. And you can keep all 3 bonus guides, the ADHD Goal Setters Guide, Autopilot Motivation, and Desktop Zen for free. Our way of saying thanks for trying out our program. So go ahead and click the order button now to order the Concentration Zen package today. You'll fill out your order info and then be sent an email shortly after, in 10 minutes or less. This email will have a special link for you to download your guide and bonuses. Focus on what you want instead of what your ADHD wants. It's possible. Once you have all the right tools, it's just a matter of following the process step by step to train the mind to higher levels of uninterrupted focus. Click the order button now to order the Concentration Zen package now.